My parents were millionaires. Dad had always wanted a daughter, but Mom kept giving birth to boys.
Our sons aren't living up to my expectations. They aren't interested in anything, and don't get me started on their grades.
When Mom got pregnant for the 4th time, Dad sent her to our family island. It's a girl!
Her eyes are the color of the ocean.
When I was born, a beautiful songbird flew in through my window. And because of that, my parents gave me a name that meant bird. Oh, I almost forgot to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Ava, and this is my story.
She's such a fast learner. Our daughter is going to grow up smart, unlike her brothers.
I learned to read early. My favorite books were encyclopedias about, you guessed it, birds. Daddy, can we get a parrot?
Whatever you want, sweetheart.
I'm gonna call you Rio. One day, I let him out of the cage and I forgot to close the door. Rio flew out of my room and I had to look for him all over the house.
Get your bird out of here.
Dimwit, dimwit.
You're the dimwit. We're rehearsing. We're creating masterpieces. It's your turn to play the drums today. I don't want to, I'm guitarist. We'll be left without a drummer then.
My brothers wanted to be famous rock stars. I felt guilty for disturbing them, and I resolved to help them. When they left for school the next day, I snuck into their room. I'll work hard and become the drummer. I practiced in secret every day. Soon after that, my parents threw an amazing birthday party for me.
Happy birthday, sweetie.
Wow! Rio seems to like it. The party was in full swing when my brothers decided to perform for the guests. I sneakily sat down at the drums. That was amazing! Where did you learn to play like that? You're still a baby.
My ears almost started bleeding when it was just the boys playing.
I wanted us to have fun together, but my brothers got really mad at me.
You've ruined everything. You aren't getting away with this.
After the party, I checked up on Rio and saw that his new house was trashed. Why did you do this?
Because show-offs like you need to be taught a lesson. The 3 of you have gone too far this time. No pocket money for a month.
You're too hard on our boys. Ava's going to grow up spoiled if you keep this up. I kept tossing and turning that night. Eventually, I came down to the kitchen to get some water, and I heard a noise outside. There was a stranger in front of our gate. She was trying to walk past the security guards. At some point, she noticed me and started to scream like crazy. I got scared, but then Dad appeared.
Kick her out of here and call the police.
Who was that, Daddy?
Just a wacko.
When I was 10, we became even richer. Dad worked extremely hard to grow his business.
I don't understand why the numbers aren't adding up.
It's simple. You made a mistake right here.
Oh, you're right. Ava is such a brilliant girl. You 3 should follow her example. You're older, but so much dumber.
Our sons are artists. They were born to create music, not do business. You should promote them. Dad eventually gave in and invited a music producer over. He arrived only a few days later.
They're so talented.
Dimwit! Dimwit!
Please lock your parrot in a cage. I'm allergic to, feathers.
I quickly ran for a first aid kit and I found the right pills for him.
I'm not staying here another minute. This is outrageous.
Dimwit! Dimwit!
You're nothing but trouble. The producer didn't even get to listen to the boys' full performance. It's a good thing he didn't. Their music sounds worse than a screeching bird.
Dad always took my side, while Mom stood up for my brothers. Sometimes it felt like she didn't love me at all. By the time I turned 16, my fascination with birds was stronger than ever. I spent several months developing a business proposal, and it was finally time to show it to my dad.
You want to open a greenhouse in the city.
It would be an exotic place where people could feel like they're alone with nature. I've already found suppliers to order tropical plants and rare birds from.
I think it's a great idea. I'm going to sponsor your project.
You're the best!
This is ridiculous. Ava is only 16. She's just wasting your money. You should use it to promote our boys' band instead. Our boys missed hundreds of opportunities. They've long since grown up and still haven't achieved anything. They were even kicked out of university.
That evening, my brothers cornered me next to my room.
Why do you get everything and we get nothing? Daddy's little girl.
Let me through!
And what if we don't? Oh, you dumb bird!
I slipped inside while Rio was distracting them. When the holidays began, I found the perfect place for my greenhouse. Then I ordered in some birds and exotic plants. The palm trees are here! I noticed a strange woman nearby. She was looking right at me and, for some reason, seemed familiar. Oh, but of course! She was that wacko I'd met as a kid.
Please sign here for delivery.
By the time I turned around, the woman had left. That night, I was woken up by a terrible noise. Mom, Dad, and I burst out of our rooms and ran downstairs.
You dropped it because you pushed me. Were you out late partying again? Are you ever going to make something of yourselves?
The next morning, Dad called me to his study.
My sons have disappointed me. I was going to hand down the bulk of the inheritance to them, but now I'm going to update my will and make you my main heir.
What? Wait, please think about this some more.
I've already made my decision.
Without a sound, Dad suddenly came up to the door and quickly opened it.
Ouch! Were you eavesdropping? How could you do that? Ava is the only one you care about. I know you always wanted a daughter, but this is too much. You don't know anything about business, and our sons are useless. Ava is our only hope. That's not fair. Ugh. What are you doing? It's high time you three moved out and stopped mooching off me.
Despite the way that they treated me, I still tried to protect my brothers, but it only made them angrier. They left and didn't talk to me for a week. After a while, I decided to go to our family island and gather some rare rocks from my greenhouse. I haven't been here in ages! A maid had been looking after our villa while we were away. She prepared a room for me.
You were born in here.
I couldn't fall asleep for a long time. Thoughts of my family were haunting me. Why did my brothers and my mom dislike me so much? I decided to find a book to get my mind off things. Soon, a battered notebook caught my eye. Seems like it's Mom's personal diary. I was about to put it back in its place when I saw my own name on one of the pages. I love living in this island paradise. I can't wait for the moment I get to hold my baby. She hasn't been born yet, but I already love her. There were only a few entries in the diary, but that was enough to shock me. I always thought Mom wanted to stop at 3 kids, but agreed to have me for Dad. I guess I was wrong. Why did she treat me like this then? I'm so confused. The next morning, I asked the maid about it. She tensed up as soon as I mentioned my mom. I can't talk about my employers behind their backs. Before leaving the island, I decided to go on a catamaran ride. That bird is so beautiful. I used the zoom on my phone camera to watch it and got so carried away I didn't notice that I'd sailed too far. I tried to get back to the shore, but couldn't because the waves were too big. Dang it! I'm being carried away into the open ocean! Then I heard the roar of an engine and saw a boat.
Get over here, sis.
What are you doing here?
You're not gonna believe it, but we came to talk to you. We've thought about the way we were acting and realized we were in the wrong. We were jealous of your success, and we often went too far.
We're sorry. Dad's right. You're the only one worthy of being the main heir.
We're gonna focus on making music.
My brother's apologies came as a surprise to me, but they seemed sincere. We returned home together. I took my mother's diary with me. That evening, for the first time in a while, we had a family dinner.
I'm glad you finally made up.
I decided to talk to Mom while everyone was getting along. I think you left it on the island. When my mom saw the diary, for some reason, she got mad. I could tell, even though she tried to hide it. Later, I saw her give it to the maid.
Burn that cursed diary.
That was weird. I tried to talk to her again, but Mom lost her temper. I didn't want to fight again, and I left her alone. The next morning, I was in for an unpleasant surprise. Someone had trashed my greenhouse. What happened here? Someone broke in last night. It's a shame you haven't installed any cameras yet. The perpetrator left no clues behind. However, that same day, I saw that crazy woman next to the greenhouse. She was looking at me and smiling. A couple of days after that, I received more bad news. You were supposed to deliver the flamingos today.
But the day before yesterday, someone called us and asked us to cancel your order.
Who could have done that to mess with me? My brothers came to mind first, but they were away writing music. Could it be that wacko? No, I doubt it. Over the next week, things kept going downhill.
You've made too many mistakes. Be more careful.
One day, I got a call from the police, and they came to my greenhouse again. We received a tip about your involvement in smuggling. This is nonsense. But soon, the police found gems in the flower pots. Someone planted them. We'll talk at the station. As I got into the car, I noticed the crazy woman nearby again. Could it really be a coincidence? Dad dealt with the police, but he wasn't happy with me.
Don't forget, we have a reputation to uphold. You've let our family down. Come on, Ava's been perfect her whole life. Everyone makes mistakes.
Soon, Dad began to promote the greenhouse and sent out invitations to dozens of journalists. On the morning of opening day, my stomach was in knots. I hope we'll get through this, Rio. I was putting the finishing touches on the greenhouse when I got a message from an unfamiliar number. I know your family's secret. It's about you. If you arrive at this address in an hour, I'll tell it to you. At first, I wanted to delete the message, but in the end, curiosity got the better of me. What if I find out the truth about Mom? Just in case something went wrong. Before leaving, I left a note and wrote down the address I'd been sent. I arrived at an empty building in the city. All the rooms inside it were locked. Finally, I managed to open one of the doors. It was dark inside. I was about to leave when someone attacked me from behind and took away my backpack. The next moment, the door slammed shut and I heard the sound of a key turning. Hey! Open the door! Let me out! And then all hell broke loose. What's going on? At some point, a recording started to play and I heard a creepy laugh.
No one wants you, not even your parents. You'll never succeed.
I don't know how much time passed before it stopped. Who would pull such a mean prank on me? The door was still locked, and my phone was in my backpack. It's the opening day. What will Dad say if I miss it? As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I noticed a vent opening in the ceiling. I had a pair of nail scissors in my pocket, and I used them to open it. I never thought I'd have to crawl through the vents like this. The front door was open, and I managed to get out of the building. But once I was outside, I ran into that crazy woman again. You're the one who locked me in there! She tried to grab me, but I pushed her away and got into a passing taxi. By the time I arrived at the greenhouse, the opening was already underway. All the cameras immediately turned on me.
Look at her.
Everyone started laughing at me. It was only at that moment that I realized my clothes were torn and dirty. I looked pathetic.
Let's get you out of here.
I spent the whole evening at home.
Don't worry.
Your project is cool anyway. When Dad came home, he was furious.
You disappointed me. I invested a lot of money in that greenhouse, but it was for nothing.
I told him that a lunatic had locked me up.
Why did you even go there? You could have at least warned me.
I left you a note.
Don't lie to me. There was no note in the greenhouse.
A few days later, a lawyer came over to our house. Dad gathered us all in the living room so we could hear his new will.
Mr. Reed bequeaths his business, as well as all his property, to his daughter, Ava. From this moment on, she is his main heir.
Those words shocked me. I was sure that Dad would change his mind after my failure.
Our eldest son should be in her place. Exactly. I tried to be perfect so hard. Was it all for nothing? We were nice to this show-off. I told you we should have tried harder to just get rid of her. Locking her up clearly wasn't enough. Dang it.
It was you? You kept messing with me, trashed my greenhouse, and locked me in that building? My brothers didn't answer, but it was clear I was right.
This proves once again that I've chosen the right heir. Of course, that was wrong of them, but it's all your own fault. You've hardly ever noticed them. The only one you paid attention to was this.
At that moment, I ran out of patience. Why, Mom? Why don't you love me?
Do you want to know the truth? Okay, I'll tell you. Don't you dare.
She pushed Dad away, grabbed my hand, and dragged me toward the car. Soon, we arrived at an unfamiliar house. This is that crazy woman. Does she live here? When we got closer, I saw that there were tears in her bright blue eyes. Eyes the color of the ocean.
I didn't want to give birth for a fourth time, but your father wanted a daughter so much that he went to a clinic and found a surrogate mother for us. This woman's name is Christina. Your father sent us both to the island so the journalists wouldn't get wind of anything. The diary you found was hers. Back then, Christina was having financial problems. That's why she agreed to become a surrogate mother. But during her pregnancy, she regretted her decision and refused to give you up. After you were born, Christina tried to keep you, but your father wouldn't let her.
It can't be true. It can't be.
But it is. She often came to our house. We had to chase her away and call the police. Christina felt so guilty it drove her insane. She spent the last few years in a mental hospital. That's why I couldn't love you. Unlike your father, I've never felt like you were my child.
It was hard to believe, but even harder to accept. Christina's gaze suddenly cleared. My girl. She took my hand and put a beautiful bird-shaped pendant into it. I looked into her ocean-colored eyes, and before I knew it, tears streamed down my face. Soon, my greenhouse became the most popular place in the city. I hired Christina. Watching the birds calmed her down and made her happier. We had a lot of visitors every day, and Rio became a real star. Everyone loved taking selfies with him. My relationship with my mom is still strained, but I've forgiven her. I think that both she and Dad were wrong in their own ways. My brothers gave up on becoming rock stars and fell in with a bad crowd. Dad got tired of bailing them out, and now they're behind bars. Do you think they'll ever change?